What is going on, YouTube family? It is Lamar Woods of Woods&Tech and SoHeart, and I am back once again to hit you with another video. This one is for, you can maybe guess, the new entrepreneurs. Alright? The new entrepreneurs always need a lot of help getting their businesses off the ground. The country, the economy is dependent on small businesses, and I am focused on helping those businesses reach the next level. And I'm showing you guys how I'm doing it at the same time. So let's get into the content. This video is specifically about how new entrepreneurs can compete with larger, more established companies inside of the same space, inside of the same industry. I'm coming across this because I've got a young technology company. We're developing software, we're developing apps, we're developing websites sometimes, and we are coming across tons of competition. We've got large organizations, some of them I used to work for. We've got small organizations, people who I've never heard of, people all in between, and this question comes to mind. How exactly does a new entrepreneur compete with existing companies in the space? How does a young entrepreneur, someone who's new to the space, new to the industry, new to the game, as some would say, how do you compete with people who have been around already? I'm going to answer this with three specific points, and then I'm going to give you a bonus point, so make sure you stick to the end of the video so that you can get all of the nuggets that you need to blow your business up. Alright, let's roll. To kick things off, one of the best things that a young entrepreneur, that a new entrepreneur can do to break away from the competition is to be specific. Be specific. Be specific in your product, be specific in your service, be specific in your location. To show you an example of how you can be more specific in your product or service, let's take Snapchat versus Facebook. Everyone was on Facebook, right? Then Snapchat came out, and it's a social media company just like Facebook is, and it needed a way to be relevant. It needed a reason to exist. And so what Snapchat did was it focused. It focused on a subset of the Facebook functionality, which is sending messages to each other, right? It focused on a subset, and it did that subset for, to be more specific, a specific audience. The people who used Snapchat originally were kids, very young, and a lot of them wanting to send messages without their parents or teachers or anyone else being able to figure out what they sent. Whether or not that's ethically okay, we can talk about later, Snapchat. But essentially today, Snapchat is a major company, and they made it by being more specific, right? If you take a look at what I'm doing, Woods&Tech develops software. How many software development companies are out there? Tons, but we specialize in mobile app development. We specialize in getting you the slick app that is going to make an impact on your business. Now, you see how that's different? You can take what you do and take either a subset of it or take a subset of the people who want that and zero in on it. That's exactly how most startups make it anyway. Most startups, and you can consider yourself a startup to some extent if you haven't really made it there yet in your business. Most startups make it to this next level of success by being specific. They hone in on a specific solution to a specific problem, most likely for a specific audience. And the more specific you get, the easier it is to get rid of competition. Because McDonald's wants to sell burgers and fries and shakes and everything else. That opens up room for someone who says, I specifically make chicken. Chick-fil-A blew up, took the world by storm, right? They specifically work on chicken, whereas McDonald's did everything. You can start to see here how being specific in either your product, service, or location can really start to blow up your business, can start to do things for you to separate you from the competition without you even really having to apply that much work. Snapchat didn't say, I need to get all the features that Facebook has and then more. They said, no, we need to make these people happy, and we need to make them happy using the specific DM feature. We essentially are DM specific. If you just take, you can outbid all of the advertising space within a specific area very easily. If I wanted to be extremely known in just my zip code, it'd be a lot easier than trying to compete with a large organization who's got such a large marketing budget that they've got ads in every city. If I just hone in on one city, I can just apply all my advertising dollars into that location using Facebook ads or using another sort of geolocation-based ad network, and I can become very well known in a specific area, right? Zeroing in on location has value. I have a group of friends that essentially created something called St. Louis Assembly Co. And you see that it's St. Louis Assembly, right? People have been assembling furniture for years. They made it specific. Them being specific got them to a lot larger of a success than they would have been without it. Be specific. That's the first point. Point number 2 is treat the customer better. eBay had been around for a long time, but as soon as Amazon came out and they started to do things like adding protection, if you didn't get your product or your item, they would reimburse you for your money. These different things like better selection, you know, doing things like lowering the price. These things made it easier for the customer to decide to work with Amazon as opposed to eBay. Who do you think won? We all know. eBay, do they even exist anymore? They probably do, but in some small fashion. Amazon destroyed the competition. Helping to delight the customer better can add everything to your business. Let's move on to the next point. Our third point on how new entrepreneurs can compete with existing businesses is look at the existing companies in the space and target their weaknesses. Look up the businesses who you feel like have domination in the space. Look up their reviews and see what their customers are saying. There was a very good piece of content I consumed the other day, and in this content, this guy, Jay Abram, essentially talks about the Amazon School of Business, which is where you take your industry, type it into Amazon, look in the books, and look at the 5-star, 1-star, and the 2-star reviews, and let that tell you what people love and want from the industry and what people hate when it comes to the industry. You can take these informations and create the proprietary call to action. You can create your market dominating position, as he calls it, but you can essentially create the sentence that makes someone wants to work with you outside of other people. What you can take from this is that if you look up your competition, you can figure out what they're really strong at, right? And you can figure out what they're also very weak at. And you can say, okay, well, I was spending my time trying to be extremely strong in the same things that they were being strong at, but it's not probably going to work out for you that way. You need to understand that the people who are the best at it are the best at it. If they have more money than you, and if they got more brand capital than you, then you need to understand that maybe it's time for you to shift into whatever they're weak at. So take a look at what they're weak at. Take a look at the reviews and the negative reviews more specifically and say, okay, what is this attribute of their service? What is this attribute of their product that essentially their customers and greater customers of the industry do not like? You can take this weakness and make it a strength of yours. Make it something that you're specific about to kind of link to the first point. To give you an example of how well that could work, let's go back to Amazon, right? Amazon in the very beginning was just a bookstore. But why did Bezos choose books? Why did he choose books? One, books was one of the things that people were buying most online, right? So he took that data, he took that trend, and he said, oh, it's a great time to be in here. But also, most bookstores have only about 10%, if that, of all of the available books in the world. Using a website, using Amazon, he could bring all the books, all known books could now be inside of one bookstore. He took that weakness that would have been there for any single physical bookstore, and turned it into a strength. He said they can't give you every book that you're looking for. You come in looking for a book, you probably won't find it at the bookstore, but you will find it on Amazon. You see how taking a weakness and turning it into your strength can completely separate you from the competition. All right, guys, we've gotten through all three of the points, and I'm now going to hit you with the bonus. The bonus point of today is become an early adopter. Become an early adopter. There are certain trends that are going to rise and take off. And if you get ahead of that trend, then you can capitalize in ways that your competition cannot, will not, until it feels safe or it feels right or it feels like everyone is doing it, right? When you become a large organization, you end up stuck in what you're doing. You end up stuck in committees and groups of people who make decisions together. And most groups are afraid to take on new ideas, new trends. That's where you, as a new entrepreneur, can beat the competition. You don't have to wait for 5 people to sign off on one decision. You can just make a decision and go. That's a major strength for you. The amount of employees in the company is both a weakness and a strength. You have less people to split the work amongst, but you can make a decision immediately. It's extremely valuable. To give you an illustration of exactly how this works or exactly how this helps. Man, do I even want to go back to Amazon? Man, do I want to go back to the Ammy, to the Zammy, the Splammy? Yes, I do. Amazon, once again, I'm gonna have to look at other companies for the next video for sure, because Amazon is just on my head today for sure. For many, many years, Amazon had outspent eBay when it comes to Google ads. In the Google ads, Amazon and eBay were spending money on advertising. Amazon outspent eBay 10 to 1 for a stretch of many years, right? Spent 10 times more budget on Google ads than eBay did. eBay was resting on its laurels. It had already had its success. It thought it was okay to let off the gas. It thought this new trend of Google ads is cool, but we don't need to go all in. Amazon, no, spent all their money on ads. Tons of their money on ads. Amazon didn't become profitable for a very, very, very long time. Are they even profitable today? I'm not even sure, right? I assume that they are because of the boom we just had due to the situation that the world is in right now. What you should take from this is that this new trend happened to come up, Google ads. People started spending money on Google ads, but most of the people that were doing it were smaller organizations because the larger ones didn't believe in it yet. And even if they did believe in it, they'd have to go through 10 layers of structure, right? You are not in that situation. You can invest today in any new trend that you want to get into, right? You don't have to be beholden to what's already worked or to what you've already done, right? Let's move over. Let's get out of Amazon, right? Let's talk about social media ads. Social media ads had come into Facebook and people were using it. Not that many people, not large organizations, but smaller companies, startups, personal brands, things of this nature. Smaller organizations started to get into Facebook advertising. And then, what was the company that blew up due to Facebook advertising? Wish. If you've ever heard of the Wish app, they essentially did primarily social media advertising. They outspent all of the clothing stores, and they outspent them all on Facebook. They were crushing the Facebook ads around apparel, around shoes, around jackets. And it separated them from the competition. They were able to unseat the competition by just being an early adopter. Now, if you want to become an early adopter, you need to start thinking about what you can do differently than your competitors. And one trend I'm on right now is telling businesses that they should have a mobile app, because the trend of companies with mobile apps is rising. In a few years, it will be almost as ubiquitous as the website. It will be, of course I have an app, just like of course I have a website. Now you can wait and you can be, in the sea of people who don't get it until it's perfect, until everybody knows about it, until it's obvious. Or you can get ahead of the game and start working on your differentiation today. So if you want to work on your mobile app, reach out to me, go to woods&tech.com, and we'll be able to schedule a call if you have no idea what you want to do. Or if you have an idea, fill out the form in the book a call page, and essentially we can get you going. We can help you ride that trend and dominate your market. Have a good one, guys. This video is specifically about